motherfuckers. Alright, we're gonna go right into it. We're gonna do a lot of triad work today. We're gonna turn that triad into arpeggio work. After 5, we're gonna go double speed. So if we get to 12, we're gonna slow back down. There's 2 notes. Alright, we're gonna do the alternatives by one. We're gonna do it twice. Or we're gonna do it 4 times. Do it 4 times, 1 regular speed, 1 double speed, 1 regular speed, 1 double speed. I hate the alternative one. It's pretty awkward, but I think there's some usefulness to it. 100 BPM, just intense, just good midway. Alright, now we're going to do the metal shape. Stretch these fingers out real quick. Alright, we started on the 14. Pretty sloppy, pretty sloppy. Did that, we managed that. My fingers hurt a lot, so let's just try 3rd fret right here. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I wonder how much further realistically I could stretch whilst maintaining the anchor. I bet we could get it all the way down. It's just going to take some time. Here, I'll finish it off with pour technique. just so like we get are used to stretching that far, sort of, without being angry. And what I've noticed is that the more I do this, even though I'm not anchoring it here, the closer my pinky stays to the fretboard. Like I'm not anchoring it. However, it's way closer to the fretboard than it would have been if I hadn't been doing all this anchoring practice. Alright, let's go way up and do the dream sequence fucking thing. Which is like harder than the metal one. Because metal one is whole step, half step, whole step, and a dream sequence one is whole step, whole step, whole step. So it's an even bigger stretch. Oh, hang on, my anchor. Shit. We could try to do one point with maybe the pentatonic 4-note per string. That would probably be even harder than what we're doing right now, the dream sequence thing. Fuck, man. 10th fret is pretty much my limit, more or less, before it starts hurting real bad for that shape. We could do 3-note per string pentatonic. And what we could do is actually just not even do like the chromatic kind of thing and actually just descend the actual 3-note per string pentatonic. Yeah, I don't know if that's that useful. Probably it is useful in some level, but I don't know if that really ties into this exercise. All right, let's switch over to we're gonna mess with the order of things. So we're gonna do the modal thing today. And today was the Mixolydian. So we're gonna do the intervals of the Mixolydian. And then when we do the triads of the Mixolydian, we're gonna start doing triad practice. And then we'll go into arpeggios last. So we'll do B Mixolydian. And we'll start with the thirds. D string. Hey, it's kind of early, but I have to hit the bathroom real quick. Okay. Turn on some Rogan real quick.
And then suddenly, step by step by step, not only are they on the table, but you're not allowed to question it. You're not allowed to say, hey guys, are we setting ourselves up for World War III here? Which is something that the president himself was talking about not very long ago. And yet, that's something that, however you feel about the Ukraine conflict and, the build up to it and how we got here and all of those things, I think at the very base level, the
Thirds.
total lack of ability to have dissent and to maybe even understand the potential consequences of what we're doing, that is fucking
Fourths.
terrifying. Because we are talking about a nuclear superpower. We are engaged in proxy wars with it. And you're basically not allowed to say, hey, power is this end? What do we need to do to try to get to a negotiated settlement here? How do we avoid having a conflict? Because we are a superpower. World War III seems like a bad thing to have on the table right now.
Fifths. That was sixths. Sevenths. Sevenths are really hard on Mixolydian.
Right, exactly. He was saying for the tanks, like 5 days before this
So here's what I think we'll do right now. We're gonna go to the Mixolydian and then play for each chord. We're gonna do all of the triads and all the inversions, and then we'll go to the next one. So we're gonna start with we're doing B Mixolydian, so we'll start with B major, right? And we're gonna do all of the inversions of the B major. Then we're gonna go up to D flat minor or C sharp minor. And we're gonna go up to that is D sharp diminished. Do all the inversions for that, right? And so on and so forth. So start with B major. This is first position you can think of. I need to think of it as G, right? Second version. I guess we can do this as the E shape, maybe. Go up and down if I want to. So. Use this on the, if I'm starting with this. flat minor. So all the triad variations for that.
I think that is a credit to the president of Media. I think it's also a credit to the fact that he trusts the trust anyone. certainly mainstream, and CJR is as mainstream as they come, mainstream attempts to actually go back through the Russiagate narrative, where it started, how it was sold to the American people, and all of the lies and especially the omissions. And they take a really hard look at the New York Times as kind of the main player in the story. There were other villains as well, but the New York Times was the main player. And they would report something that, you know, they would shade it to look as bad as possible with regards to Trump-Russia connections. They would get some other piece of information that was exculpatory, wouldn't be in the paper at all. And they got all kinds of, you know, millions of new subscribers to their paper who were there to hear this, like, you know, elaborate tale of Russian conspiracy and the Manchurian Candidate and whatever. And the underlying narrative that at least I take away from the CJR report is New York Times and MSNBC and a lot of other places. They were more interested in feeding that audience what they wanted to hear than actually looking at the facts of what was happening. And, you know, you read it, it is as damning as it could be. And listen, the way we were sold the Iraq War was bad enough. Like, they actually did some correct as that here's what was wrong and the sorry, whatever.
D flat 9. So it was B major, D, C sharp, C sharp, D sharp major, and C sharp minor, and D sharp diminished. I don't know the diminished triad, so this is going to be educational right now.
hockey commentator, and he said that all lives matter, and he got fired. Shit. Like,
I
it's
mean,
like, what an egregious misstep.
So it's a
Joe,
weird,
you
a
know
flat
what?
third and
You
a
know I
flat
got my
fifth,
start in
essentially.
media on episode 7. So, I mean, am I a different person from Tuesday? I certainly hope so. I mean, I go back and look at it, and you know, some of it I watch and I'm proud of. You know, I focused on a lot of the same issues that you did, labor and inequality, economics, things that I really care a lot about, especially on foreign policy. Though, some of that stuff I go back and watch, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so cringe, and I just bought into the corporate lie. Now, ultimately, shortly before I let go, I did a monologue when Hillary Clinton was being to run for president. It was back in 2014, so this was early on, and I did this whole thing that was like, she sold out to Wall Street. If you meet this lady, she's like a terrible candidate for the moment. Please don't. And I was allowed to say it, right? I did my thing. I did it exactly how I wanted to do it. Afterwards, elected in office. You know, great mom, everything's fine. But next time you do commentary on Hillary Clinton, it has to be the president of the yeah. And think about, you know, I mean, I would love to say that I had to further Hillary Clinton commentary to try to but I would love to say that didn't affect me and I was very neutral. But listen, I'm a human being. I'm sure I responded to the incentives of that system of like, God, I don't want to you know, and that's the way that it works. People, that's a very blatant example, but oftentimes people know that you're going to put on for
How the fuck am I gonna memorize these ones? Because the
these people, most
minor
of
and the
them,
major ones, they
you know,
correspond with the
they're
cage
not really there
system.
because they're talented. They're there because they're a
What the
reliable
fuck am I supposed to do with
whatever
these
it is that
diminished
that
by?
network wants to prevent. So ultimately, do I need to go on there and really understand the parameters of the task?
There's just a thing about crowd noise. If you're connected financially, if you're connected in a friendship way, if you're
Yes.
Hey, shout out to your boy Sam Bankman-Fried, out here Jewing it up harder than anybody ever has been before. Playing Counter-Strike while in meetings with like the president. Based. Shout out to Sam Bankman-Fried, my kind of guy.
Yes. I mean, these are supposed to be the most sophisticated investors. On the other end, a lot of people who bought into what he was selling or what, NFTs that were being sold or whatever like scams were out there, they had their own vulnerabilities of maybe they were hurt in the financial crash, maybe they feel like
those leggings are, and they'd be flying off
You're
the
gonna
shelf.
get contacted by
That
them.
fucking guy's a date.
You're gonna get
Yeah.
contacted. Next thing you
Yeah.
know, we're gonna listen to Joe's podcast. He's like, "This is brought to you by
Brought to you by
LuLaRoe."
I like 'em. Have some little Minnie Mouses on 'em. Let's go.
Alright.
Let's go.
So,
But I think it's a where being
major,
extreme masculinity is
C
not
sharp minor,
and because of that, it's a
or there's D sharp diminished. Now it's major. So we gotta do all the triads for that.
Just from looking at him. So you just don't naturally get that way.
Yeah, you can naturally get that way if you have superior genetics in your 20s. If you're in
And
your
this dude was
20s,
how old?
this in his
next one is
If you are doing this stuff, you should be honest with what you're doing, and then also honest if something is wrong.
Yeah, I think it's amazing.
that
2
is
years ago or so.
F sharp
It's so
minor.
important to have realistic expectations.
Well, and I mean, number one, you just aren't going to look like the people unless you do, you know, what he did. But number two, I mean, yeah,
More saying like for kids, especially look, I didn't know if before I started consuming much content, Huberman, all these other folks, Derek, all these videos, and Derek had a video once of a guy who was like 1 year out, I think. He was like, "This is what a realistic like 6 pounds of muscle looks like." And he was like, "Yeah, it doesn't look great." He's like, "That's what it looks like." And I was like, "Yeah, that's actually very helpful to me as somebody who was just starting up from the ground." And then I think about 22-year-old. I would have bought the, you know, if I was 18 years old, absolutely. That kid in College Station.
I really feel like that's all it took to
Yeah,
make
I'm
it.
like, that's all it takes. I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. You gotta consume information, low expectations around it. So, and that's the biggest problem with like manosphere and Instagram culture and all that. There's some great ones out there, like Lainey and Huberman, and a few others, but
a lot of fraudsters. Well, and to go back to Andrew Tate, apparently part of what he's arguing is like, oh, it's just a character that I'm playing. But it's like, you know, at the end of the day, does it
Is he
really?
arguing?
I think so. I think I saw that. But at the end of the day, does it matter if you're playing a character if people believe it? You know, then there's no difference whether you're just like playing a character, a ridiculous character, because you're still selling the same thing to a public that's buying it.
Yeah, then what do you do about
You just worship it. It's just great.
That was a great one. Oh, that show was so funny. And it was
It was amazing on the Daily Show.
when he went and did the like roast of the president at the White House with George W. It was so amazing.
Much better than the real one. Like the real
You know what? It's
talk show.
so cringy.
You need to get them Daily Show writers back. Let's go back in the closet, buddy.
They put the character back on. It was so much funnier.
I remember last time we were the day after we fucked up John Stewart.
About Lamley Cove. Yeah, that's great.
He did it 100% on purpose.
That was the first time I watched that thing. I was like, you guys, hilarious.
Well, he just the narrative was like his all you saw his yachts. Well, I'd like to see some evidence if you have it. I've had gin with the folks at Fires and Water.
But I don't even think it's, I think it's like the social proof thing. Like we were talking about. I mean, people feel like, oh, this is my club, this is my tribe, and so I gotta like represent them and get backlash. I'm not gonna get invited to the party.
Have you ever seen him dancing
His yacht's
with
not a
Chuck
big
Schumer?
Of course.
High fives, Chuck Schumer. Well, but he made it.
Congratulations.
That is what was the only thing that was available until independent. That's why, like, Jay Leno hid in the closet discussing, you know, the Tonight Show. The head of the talk show.
Everybody looks at that as an era which was better, but you know, a lot of the reading I've done in terms of JFK and Vietnam lies and all that, I'm like, I think shit was just as bad. It was like we just didn't hear about it. People just had no idea what was going on.
But you know, I mean, when you talk about JFK, which is like this is another one of the things that I've gotten really into. And it's not like the public bought the narrative. Everyone bought the narrative. They still don't buy the narrative, you know. So, but I do think in general it was easier for them to sell a unified, like realistic narrative to America in case when it came to things like this.
G-sharp
right now, where
Phrygian.
it's like the part of the reason they were making the censorship decisions they were was because of ideology, and I think that
G-sharp
and
minor,
a lot of
this is
people
the
who didn't want
Phrygian.
to make decisions, like, that's and a couple of really ideological actors. But you also see in fallout with advertisers fleeing now that a lot of the reason the censorship decisions were driven was about the money, it was about the bottom line. It was still, just like with Legacy, it was the advertisers shaping what was the bounds of acceptable discourse.
Yeah.
You see that on Twitter, you see that on YouTube. I mean, anywhere that's ads are going to have that same idea.
We have that shit constantly. So I'll do a video about Jeffrey Epstein from Kiss It Goodbye. Oh, you did a video about the vaccine, forget it, Kiss It Goodbye. You did a video about gain of function. Oh, my favorite was about, remember the Chinese tennis star, Peng Shuai? She accused that guy of rape. That video got demonetized on our channel. And they were like, hey, all videos on sexual assault are demonetized. I was like, well, first of all, when you do news, sometimes the news is fucking bad. So, I don't know what incentive you're setting here, but we've done other videos on sexual assault that were demonetized.
They told us literally anything to do with like a Me Too story was demonetized out of the case. And it's like
It's
number one,
controversial, so
right?
people don't want their
No, we get it.
advertising.
That's it.
I get it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it
That's all it
exactly.
is.
But then think about the incentive structure knowing that they're not going to make any money off.
Right.
I mean, we built our business model so that we could try to insulate ourselves from those incentives, because we're human beings too. And we don't be so arrogant to assume that we're not also shaped by whatever incentive structure we ultimately live in. But yeah, that's how you end up with Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, etc., making very similar content moderation decisions, because ultimately it's all about what the advertisers are going to pay out of you.
I'd like to tell you a story about the Spotify deal.
Yeah.
We were always getting demonetized. We got demonetized. YouTube paid us a lot of money, and I'm not an anti-YouTube person. I love it. I think the problem with YouTube is monitoring at scale. Yes. And managing an insane amount of content that goes through YouTube. It's fucking impossible. And you have ideological actors that are inside the company and have mandates, and they have their own opinions about things that lean heavily left.
Right.
So we go over to Spotify, and then magically all our demonetization stops.
Really?
Because they wanted to get all
They wanted to
rest
get the
of
money
Yeah.
before we left. So
That's fascinating.
right, Jamie? Did we have any of them that were demonetized after the Spotify? That might have been like one,
That is fascinating.
maybe one if we had Alex.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. You're like, oh, that Alex Jones one. We'd like that cash, but we just can't do it.
Like, or someone like fucking super off the grid, crazy. Someone, I don't know who it was, but maybe we had one. But it was the difference between 25% of our revenue. For most people, it's a significant amount of revenue. So self-censor. I know that there's many friends that I have that make YouTube shows. They self-censor.
Honestly, there's a YouTube policy where you play a clip of Trump claiming that the election was stolen, that they're going to take down. And I was like, well, so we're a politics show. We cover Donald Trump. When we play clips, that doesn't mean necessarily that we agree or endorse those clips. So how are we supposed to cover the news? And they were like, well, as long as you say that it's not true. And I'm like, yeah, okay, even probably would say that anyway. But it's like, why are you dictating the way that I have to do my coverage? We're going to cover a State of the Union in a couple of days, like a live stream. So that's Biden. I mean, are we supposed to interject every time he says something that's not true and live fact check it? No, because that's outrageous. You play the clip, and then afterwards you're like, okay, here's what I thought about the State of the Union. If Trump is, he's going to be possibly the next president of the United States, very least probably the next Republican nominee. How are we supposed to set just make shit up for people? Like, it's the
Nixon
news.
says, I'm not a crook.
Exactly. You just play it, and then you're like,
Yeah.
well, he might be a crook. It's possible.
Right.
Someone says something crazy, you have to refute it.
Right. And the other piece is, it'd be one thing if the
Alright.
standards were consistent. and
Gonna do some
clear, but then
arpeggios.
just, like,
We already were
just
doing
don't
some
know. I mean, just
arpeggios,
like
but
with
we're gonna
your
go back to
videos,
the 4-note
suddenly they were
arpeggios.
monetized, and who knows why, or what happened, or what that conversation was like. And so it makes it a challenging
I
situation.
understand their place.
think that was the cleanest run we did on the first try yet. Kind of hit every note. And so I think practicing the simpler arpeggios helps on the more advanced arpeggios, oddly enough. So let's try the minor seventh arpeggio.
We actually have some of the least in modern American history.
We're going double speed. Let's just try to take it slow on the minor seven. We're getting it down. The minor seven is not as tight as it should be. We'll give it another circle. We'll try to get it clean as possible. It'll go down to the dominant seven, but we're gonna have to pull that one up. Maybe we can see if we can memorize it. I think we more or less know how it works. Whether or not we can do the whole circle. Alright, check it. C. Right, we fucked it up right as we made the C, so we just barely made
And
it.
I was like, this is kind of nuts.
I'll try and see if I can do it like double speed real quick.
Fucking no clothes on in my underwear, kicking people in the face. And I was like, these guys are wild. These guys are wild. I mean, I was living the wildest. I had no health insurance. I'm out there fighting for no money.
We're gonna do C7. Alright, here. Got this shit right here.
Clause originated in the American South in the 1890s as a way to defy the 15th Amendment and prevent black Americans from voting. What?
Oh, I see, because it was referred to as the grandfather clause. But that means, though, that the grandfather name was grandfathered into the grandfather clause.
Because
So
the
why get
grandfather
rid of that?
name, it's like way before that.
Why don't you just teach people what the grandfather clause
Just,
is?
get rid of that stupid fucking clause. Like, don't get rid of the name grandfather. It's so dumb. There's so many more grandfathers than there are grandfather clauses.
There was another one, JD, Stanford. There was one that was about like marriage or
Hold on, go back to that because it said preferred pronouns are problematic. Where were you? Yeah, here it goes. Hold on. The language guide also considers preferred pronouns as problematic because the term preferred suggests that a person's pronouns are optional.
So what are you supposed to say?
I think we should just
I like
kill
when, phrases with
college
man
administrators,
Oh yes.
Man hours.
drag them from their
Well,
homes,
that
kill them.
maybe
Man in
you
the
can make an
middle.
argument for that if you're working at a 50-50 fucking workplace, even a 90-10 workplace, and 10% of them are women.
That would probably
like
solve a
man
lot of the
hours,
problems.
What about human hours? You can say human hours.
They should. How do you really take that?
Grandfather, you can make an argument. What the fuck are we doing? But the thing is, like, once people get things established, they never stop. We're good. We're a perfect balance in society. Now they want to keep pushing.
Yeah.
And if you keep pushing in that generation,
Well,
So, I think I could just practice these complex arpeggios for time in memoriam, but I think there's probably a better system for being able to figure them out rather than memorization. And I think we have to find a way, in the same way that I can form arpeggios from the triads, like this is D major, and then we create. We can do that. I think we're gonna have to find a way to create arpeggios just out of the chords. I think there's a system to that. And then when it comes to figuring out, alright, well, the chords come from the modes, right? So this is root augmented fourth major 6. Can I make an arpeggio out of that? And so I want to throw in a major third too. So I guess the problem I'm running into is how do I decide which notes to arpeggiate and which ones to leave out?
She doesn't say yeah, yeah, no. She says, hey, motherfucker, what did you say? You said some crazy shit that wasn't true at all.
many more important things that were the goods on Trump and Russia.
Well,
Yes,
you're right. You
Abe.
said some crazy shit. Opinion is not her own. There's many people that have that opinion, and
Right.
they should be represented.
Yes.
My point is, she's sitting right next to Adam Schiff, and no one says shit. She doesn't say, yeah, I probably should have said, hey, motherfucker, what did you say?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
Abe.
said some crazy shit that wasn't true at all.
No, he
Arpeggiating
loved-
the
he
modes.
loved having
Arpeggiating the
face
chords,
on
going
the
through the
cameras
modes.
during all the Russian
Alright.
stuff, and he would go out there and just
Let's see if this is. I think this might be just one step under where I need to be, but maybe it might spark
So
something.
basically, on the Ione mode,
He's on bass.
Dore mode, Phrygian, Lydian,
Well then, let's do it.
Okay, great. And then the next thing is you want to do is just go arpeggiate.
Alright, well I know how to do that. I'm talking more for like the 4-note arpeggios. Alright, how about finding, okay, what's finding chords, finding chords in modes. Or, well, I think what they're gonna do if I search that, then they're gonna do all of like the simple chords, the 1, 3, 5 shit. How do we, what is the method to finding the advanced chords? Alright, I'm gonna take a pee break real quick. Do I just have to figure that out myself? I feel I have the means, but it's like, I feel like there has to be some sort of simpler way than I'm going about it. Okay. Let's try this.
go right up to the line of basically saying
Advanced
Oh, boy.
and he said it so
chords
hard.
in
And then you
modes.
look at that, and what a disservice it was. What a like giant, elaborate conspiracy was constructed to distract the American people from so many more important things that were going on. And here's one of the key figures, and he is very likely to be the next senator from California, especially with fucking Nancy Pelosi's endorsement now. Insane.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, I agree. You know, it's also funny in terms of.
Alright,
what
here's
you're
this
not allowed to
jazz
say, what
dude.
you
He says, learn the modes
Like you
is
said,
horrible
I would agree with
advice.
Ilhan Omar.
Maybe we'll watch this. Fucking jazz motherfuckers. I'm sick of yous.
You've probably seen people give advice like this online very often. So I'm talking about statements like, learn all the modes if you want to play jazz, or first learn to play all the modes all over the neck, and then start checking out 2-5-1s. But what this actually makes you practice is not really setting you on a path to play better solos and actually learn how to play jazz. So the question is if this is good advice at all, and maybe there's something else that you want to check out. So in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and then I'm also going to give you a skill that I think you should develop instead of checking out modes, that's really gonna help you play better solos, become a better improviser. My name is Jens Larsen. Learn jazz, make music. There's nothing wrong with the modes, they certainly have a place in jazz history, but the way they're taught is not really going to help you become a better jazz improviser or teach you how to play jazz. There are other skills that you need to develop, and actually coming from sort of this very basic way of looking at modes is not going to help you, it's going to work against you. So this video is really more to help you think about how you want to learn to play jazz and what you want to focus on and the skills you want to develop. Later in the video I'm going to go over a skill that's really essential for playing jazz and that you need to develop, and in fact if you develop this skill then you don't really need to worry about the modes at all, because then you can play them anyway. Most modal lessons are going to teach you how to construct that mode or how to come up with the mode, and they're going to do this by either giving you a list of notes and then relating that to another scale, maybe using a diagram, or just to give you a set of intervals that are going to construct that scale. There's nothing wrong with that information, that's basic information, that's all fine, but it's not really going to teach you how to play and improvise better jazz solos or how to use this on a song, because we all know that there are quite a few steps in between knowing how to construct a Dorian scale and play a lick that sounds like this. A good way to teach the modes if you're coming from pentatonic scales is to take the pentatonic scales and then start adding notes to it, and that way building the mode. And this works really well if you're playing over the same chord for 4 bars and you have time to explore how that sounds. But if you're playing jazz music where you have sort of longer rows of progressions with a lot of moving harmony, then probably you want to just focus on actually learning how to play over changing chords and not have too many mental detours along the way. If you're learning how to play jazz, then you should be learning how to play jazz songs. And most of the easy jazz songs, so the jazz standards, are in fact not modal at all, they're tonal. They use functional harmony, and when you're improvising over a song like that, then you kind of have to play the movement of the chords. So it's not really about this scale over this chord and then how that sounds. It's about a row of chords, and the chords are moving in a logical way from one to the next, and you want to play that movement, and you want to play solo lines that are following and making those chord changes clear. This means that if you're playing a solo and nobody is playing the chords behind you, we can still hear that the chords are changing and what the chord progression is.
Alright, so we're going to watch the rest of this, but basically what he's saying is, rather than learning the modes and then learning the scales of which the song is in, if you're playing in jazz, which is more complicated music, what works better is to learn to arpeggiate the complicated chord that's being played and then follow along the chord changes.
If you want to hear examples of this, then listen to some bebop. There it's usually quite clear what's going on, and if you want to hear some of that outside jazz, then check out some country solos where they're also very often approaching playing over chords in this way. When you learn a mode, then you learn a scale. You learn 7 notes, and you're not really given the tools to improvise over the chord that's associated with that mode. And the way that the mode is defined is very often that there are some characteristic notes that are different if you compare it to a major or a minor scale. But those characteristic notes don't actually work that well with the chord very often, and that means that if you start emphasizing those in your solo, then it's gonna sound pretty weak or maybe just completely wrong. To give you a practical example of this, if I have a variation of a 3-6-2-5 in C, so that could be something like E minor, A7, D minor to G7, then on the E minor chord, that's the 3rd mode of C major, so that's Phrygian, and the way we kind of define that would be that it's a minor scale with a flat 6 and a flat 9. So the flat 9 and the flat 6 are really what defines that mode. But if I'm playing the flat 9 on top of the chord, you can hear that it doesn't really sound like the chord at all. It doesn't really fit in this context. So it makes much more sense to focus on the notes in the chord and not so much on the notes in the scale. Another thing that modes don't do that well, because the focus is on the scale and not the chord, is that it doesn't really make a difference between very common chord progressions and almost random chord progressions. So in terms of modes, this is Dorian, Mixolydian, Ionian, but so's this Dorian, Mixolydian, Ionian. And your ear can tell the difference, because one of those is probably the most common progression that we have in jazz, and the other one is almost completely random. As you can tell, what I think is missing is the ability to relate what we're playing to the chords, so that the way that we think about things is also going to give us something to play. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to just have 7 notes, and the way we think about them is how they are different or the same as a major or a minor scale. That's not going to give us anything that we can play when we're improvising over a chord in a song. So instead, I think it's more useful to focus on the notes of the chord, the arpeggio, and to get the sound of the chord across in what you're playing. And the final goal should really be that you can take any chord, any scale where the notes of that chord are in, and then play a meaningful line over that, sounding like the chord. Another thing I think you want to start working with right away is that when you're improvising, that you're already working on playing the chord changes. What you're playing on this chord should already be leading to the notes in the next chord, and you want to think ahead and you want to play to that chord change.
Alright, so this is the next level of our practicing. I'm going to get this looper pedal, it's going to arrive soon, and then we're going to start playing jazz chords, and we're going to play over those chord changes. That is how we're going to reach the next level. And so we'll play like an E minor 7, and then we'll play all the notes of the E minor 7, arpeggiated. And then we'll go to like D major 7 or whatever, and then so on and so forth. And then we'll just get more and more complicated. And then I think learning by doing is the best way, because you can only watch so many videos. But I think if we develop the mental calluses, the mental whatever the fuck, of where to place your fingers during certain tonalities, rather than thinking within scale shapes, that could add an extra dimensionality to it. I think that is the way to go, essentially. So the looper, let's see, let me check when that's going to arrive. I think that's going to be here sooner than later. It's going to be here tomorrow, actually. Cool. But it's probably not going to be here in the morning, though. It's not going to be here till at least 9 o'clock. But that'll do some good. I think that is, because right now the thing I'm doing with like the recording, like a jam track thing, takes too long. It's easier to practice just by click, click, ding, 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 click, and then you have like a loop, right? That seems to fucking move, right? And just focus solely on the chord changes and the arpeggiation. And then, if we do it that way, since we have all this knowledge about the scales to base it in, when we run out of ideas with that shit, then we could just return to the scale. And so we're just layering and layering and layering upon our own ideas of how to play music. So I think that seems like the pathway forward, I think. So, a lot of people jam over like these jamming tracks, like these backing tracks. I think that's kind of lame. I think we're just going to make our own backing tracks with the looper and just kind of like have it be very ephemeral. So if you do that, you can practice much quickly. Alright, so let's just watch a bunch of information. Let's just like see if we can learn.
That's really an important part of playing over chord progressions. Of course, what I'm talking about here is really improvising with arpeggios and improvising with target notes. And these are things that I talk about really often in my other videos. And if you want to get started working like this, then I will leave a link to a playlist in the description of this video where you can check out some of the basic ideas behind these concepts. And it is worth mentioning that if you can take any chord and a scale where that chord is in and then make a solo line that sounds like the chord, then you can actually play all the modes. You don't really need to work on it that much or look at it in a different way. It's just something that you already developed as a skill. To just quickly explain the basic thing behind playing over chord changes and playing a melody that sounds like a chord. If we have a C major 7 like this chord, and then the scale that we have that fits with this would be a C major scale, so. And if you want to play something that fits with this chord and sounds like the chord, then it makes sense that you want to use just some of the same notes. So then you want to be using G, E, B, and C, and that's the arpeggio of the chord. So a C major 7 arpeggio would be. And then what you want to practice doing is improvise melodies and learn how to make melodies that really emphasize those arpeggio notes. And then the other notes in the scale are something that you kind of put in between. And that could give you a melody like this. It's very easy to make a video or a blog article that shows you that this row of notes is Dorian, and
so we rely on the arpeggios for the chord as the root, and then you get to use the scale notes, which we spend a lot of time mastering, as the sort of transitionary notes to add flavor. I see.
This row of notes.
Where I was thinking about it opposite, like we would rely on the scale and then use the arpeggiated notes to flavor it.
It's Aeolian, but going through that is not really gonna give you anything that you can take away, practice, and that will improve you as an improviser or teach you how to play jazz. If you want to check out some more videos where there are some exercises, some things you can work on and that you can really get into your playing and that will help you play better solos, then check out this playlist. I'm also just curious on your thoughts on this whole thing, so leave a comment.
Let's see if I can go back to that Rick Beato arpeggio. This is a little over where we're at, but we're going to see a lot of application.
That's great. You can start on the flat 7 too. So I'm going, what did I just do? Start on the flat 7. All right. How about B flat Lydian? B flat Lydian would work on here.
Okay, let's go back a little.
It's like I did before. What if I took and I go of my A minor. So then I would start getting my arpeggios like that. And I would say, okay, I've got A, and then I start my C major 7 arpeggio here on the 7th. And then, if you're starting on, then you start like that. Then I say, okay, that's cool. Then I say, well, how else can I use these principles? Well, let's say I'm playing on a C7 chord, right? And instead of just playing, a lot of times I would first start practicing on the 7th. The 7th leading in, having a lead-in note. Right, so I always do my pickup like that. Okay, then I'd go, okay, well, what else can I do with that? What if I do one of those upper extensions like I did before? What if I took and I go. So I did. So I'm going a C7, then I'm going into a B flat major chord there, right? I'm coming down C major there. So this is, so that's more of a way that you can play C7 that you might use in context. Or you can use C7 flat 5 where I play. So I'm using a D major up here. This is these upper extensions. Right, and then I go. That's this kind of a sound. But I don't go straight. I go up to that sus4. And I came down.
He's playing with lots of like lead-in notes. He's switching between arpeggios at the low and high, and then when he does the switch, he doesn't switch right onto the 1. He'll go into like the sus4 and then go into the next arpeggio.
This would be a suspended arpeggio. But then you start up here. Right? And then end on the root. So practice them backwards. That's a great. Right? So I'm going. Okay, so arpeggio up. I did 3 flat 1, 3, 5 flat 7. Then I went to the 9 to the sharp 11. Well, that's just G major there. And maybe go up to the 5th there. And I come down. So I'm combining arpeggios. C7, D major, and then I went to the 5th of C7, and then I came down. I came down to C Lydian major. So, sorry. That's a great sound because I'm combining a C triad, a C7 arpeggio, D major, and C Lydian. Okay, that's great. You can start on the flat 7 too. So I'm going, what did I just do? Start on the flat 7. All right. How about B flat Lydian? B flat Lydian would work on here. Which a great sound too. Whoever said B flat Lydian. So B flat Lydian would be a sound that I would use on C7 too. Gives you almost like a Spanish sound, but don't forget it's over this. It's over this chord. Love that sound. Always have to turn it around though. You don't want to play straight up and down them. I did there. I'm playing B flat Lydian. So I'm starting. Here's B flat Lydian would be B flat C or B flat major 7 sharp 11, right? B flat D E A. It's like this chord, right? Or I start on the 7th. I'm playing B flat Lydian over C7. What'd I play? Then I came down to G minor, add 9. Okay, so B flat Lydian, G minor, add 9. G minor, add 9 is a grade. Gives you C 13 sound. B flat Lydian, D major, right? I love that G minor. Sound, right? So those are some different things. So you find a few different things that work, and don't just practice them straight up and down. Try and do things like this. So I'm gonna go. So I start on the 5th, okay, and I'm going to like a B flat, a C9 sound. Cooler sound. It sounds really like it's just kind of floating, right?
I gotta master
So I'm
these
going
arpeggios.
fifth,
I gotta be able to play like that.
Go and slow the video down after and figure these out, right? And maybe I'm gonna go, okay, well, how can I interweave that with this B flat Lydian sound? I mean, I'm thinking for the C9, right? I'm thinking E minor 7 flat 5 with an E. So so I've got C, and then I'm going C, E minor 7 flat 5. But I'll see if I can weave in a B flat Lydian. Let's see.
That's the thing, though. It's not like I feel like homeboy Rick Beato plays it fast and loose with his terminology. What does he mean by B flat Lydian? Like, he's not talking about the scale. He's talking about certain scale degrees. He's talking about certain chords. He's arpeggiating it in somehow. So what are the notes that he's arpeggiating?
But I was like, so I'm thinking.
So this is C9. And let's just quickly review ninth chords. Right, that's what I thought. Yeah, I use that a lot, actually. A bunch of songs that use the ninth, but okay, but this is major 9. I think, what makes it the 9 is they add that 4th note. And I can see how this could easily become arpeggiated. Hold on. whole fucking song that's just 9 chords, basically. And so if I learn to arpeggiate these fuckers, well then bada bing, bada boom. So I think rather than watching Rick just go for 20 minutes, let's just try to work on arpeggiating the major 9th chords. And then if I put it here. Alright then, so. Let's work on this then. So. Well, let's try just arpeggiating the 1, the 3, and the 7. Well, that's an octave, isn't it? Well, do we arpeggiate? We don't arpeggiate that octave then, do we? Well, we put it in the arpeggio, but. Hang on. Does that make it a 3-note arpeggio then? The 1, 3, 9? 1, 3, 9. See, but the 9 is, there's no such thing as a 9 on some level, that's the 2. Because if we're thinking in terms of arpeggiation, then the 9th, then we have the 2 in there too. Because the 9th is the 2. Because the 8 is the octave. Fuck, man. Okay, let's think about this. I think I gotta tune up real quick too. This is where we pay to like have like some fucking old jazz master to give you lessons like, oh no, it's very simple. You just have to think of it like, I don't got that motherfucker. Alright, so that's a 3, that's a 7, and then that's the 9. Right? That's a major 9. And then, okay, so that's the major 9. And this is also a major 9. And then the minor 9 is like when you do the thing where it's like, goes below. Right, so that's minor 9. So, okay, I think it's 1, 3, 7, 9. That's what it is. That is what the core of the 9th is, that there's a 3rd, a 7th, and a 9th. And so that is 4 notes. And then the major 9 would be. Right. No. Major 9 is this. So that's major 9. That's minor 9. Okay, and so then for the major and the minor 9, the only thing that changes it is the third. So the minor major differentiator, like for most chords, is the third. Major 9. Which is sort of confusing on some level, because it's like, well then, we're just not thinking about how that is a minor 7th and a major 7th, or a minor 9th and all that. Like, is a 9th chord always a minor 7th and a major 9th? Is that how it always is? Obviously you can make some other chords, but then it wouldn't be called a 9th chord anymore. I wonder how these jazz motherfuckers came up with all these fucking lingo. And then, okay, so that's where, okay, I get this. That's where all of these, like, add 9, add, like, all of that shit comes from. Like, when they go E, add 9, E minor, add 9, all of that shit. I was like, what are you guys, we're doing math now? Add 9. I get it. But we don't need to worry about that though yet. So let's just worry about these inversions. Arpeggiate the minor 9 and see how we can do that. Let's see if we can get a diagram. Maybe that'll do something with that. Minor 9 arpeggio guitar. Right, and so that's what's weird about it, is that they don't play the second? No, they do play the second. Okay, so that's the arpeggio then. And that would go perfectly over the I think that would go good over Dorian, right? Sound good. That would probably work over Dorian and just the regular minor. So let's check that. So alright, the minor 9 works over Dorian and just Aeolian, the regular minor, the natural minor, but it doesn't work over Phrygian. because it doesn't have a flat second. Okay. All right, that makes sense to me. And I think some people are able to learn this. See, this is the thing about music, is that people just come from so many different angles. Like, let's say you memorize all of the notes on the fretboard, like, really well. Like, I got them pretty much memorized. Like, I'll look at it and I'll go, G, B flat, whatever. Like, I can figure it out relatively quickly. Let's say you had it, like, completely memorized, like, instantaneously. Then if that's how you played, then you would probably only need to memorize the notes in the arpeggio. Go, okay, this arpeggio has an E, a G, and an F, or whatever the fuck, and then just go to town with that. Alright. So then if you think about it that way, then the A minor 9 arpeggio has A, a B, a C, an E, and a G. It repeats. We could try, so there are triads, right? What is like a 4-note triad? Is that just a chord? Like a quadrad? I've never heard that ever said before, but I feel like that would be a useful concept. They're just called chords, or they're called tetrads. Tetrads. There we go. Tetrads. The thing is, though, is that the thing about triads is that you can create those shapes all across the board, right? So. I don't think you can do the same thing, because you can't really make those shapes with your fingers with the quadrads. Because you see how they have this 9th over this 3rd? Like, that'd be hard to make over, because you need 4 strings for that then. And so at that point it becomes incessantly complicated. It just becomes chords at that point. So tetrads are not as useful a concept as triads. So I think what we're gonna have to start trying to do, like where we would go is, once we get this looper pedal, I'll play like an A9 chord, right? and then you just play some arpeggiated solo shit. And then, or whatever, we do like we do a minor 9, and then we go like D minor 7, and go back to A minor 9, and then you go back to the minor 9 arpeggio. And that's probably a better way than going, it's in A minor. The reason why that takes more time, though, is that we need to really practice each of the arpeggios for all of these complicated shapes. But I think we've worked to the point where it's like we can learn that pretty quickly. And then once you start learning 1 or 2 or 3, then the dominoes start falling, and you start to rely on that differently. So I think we're in pretty decent shape. I think we're in decent shape. So it's yeah, we do like a, or here, A minor 9. That's not the right. So we do like an A minor 9. D minor, 7. Then you'd go to let's see, let's do something else, like how about like okay, so then a C major 9 then. Does that work in this scale? I don't think so. That doesn't work actually. So let's just do like C major 7. Back to D minor 7. Then you could do like an E dominant 7. Yeah, that sounds really good. Then we can go up here and finish. That's what she said. And then you just start layering on weirder arpeggios. But first we have to start simple. So once we get that looper pedal, we'll do like a chord progression like we were just playing. A minor 9, E7, E dominant 7, then back to A minor, or whatever like that. And then just play over those chord changes, over those complicated arpeggios. And then you just start learning how to play, how to transition arpeggios. So what we were watching Rick Beato do is that he was playing in like the like a minor 7, and then he, or like, I don't know what he was playing. I think he was playing dominant 7, and then he switched to G major, which is a 3-note arpeggio at the top, and started like playing. And so sometimes what I'll do, this is like an analogy in a way, is I'll be playing in like a modal scale, and then once I like play that out, I'll switch to the pentatonic, which is 5-note scale, and then you're focusing on different notes. And so we could try to do a similar sort of thing where you do the 4-note arpeggio, and then once you get to the top, you switch to the 3-note arpeggio to really highlight the core of the fucking scale right there. So that seems like a plan. We want to try to memorize. Well, let's see. What 4-note arpeggios do we have down? We have the major 7 arpeggio. We practiced that one a lot. We got the minor 7. We got the dominant 7. And then we just picked up the minor 9, and then also the major 9. We can do that. Alright, that's the minor 9, and then the major 9 is like, which I think we're going to use the major 9 less, but we'll just, for posterity's sake. Let's see, major 9, sort of like, alright, let's take this off real quick. Sort of an odd one. Whatever. So we're just gonna have to learn all those arpeggios. There's diminished arpeggios. They got the add 5, the fucking flat 4, the this, the that. We're just gonna work our way through them. And once we start like practicing over chord changes, that we're gonna be able to pick them up much quicker than trying to do this memorization bullshit. So, let's return to Rick. I think we pretty much got what he's trying to do. It looks like this is literally just a 40-minute video of him just going over fucking, okay, and then I'll do the arpeggio, and then I'll do this arpeggio.
So I'm going 5th. You can go and slow the video down after and figure these out, right? And maybe I'm gonna go, okay, well, how can I interweave that with this B flat Lydian sound? I mean, I'm thinking for the C9, right? I'm thinking, E minor 7 flat 5 with an E. So
Right. So ain't that hilarious? So he's talking about C9, and then I just looked up all the C9 information, and then I was looking at possible other arpeggios to accent that, and then we ended up choosing the same thing. Like I didn't play C9, I played A9, and then I went to D minor 7, and then he played C9 and he went to E minor 7, which is essentially the same choice. So I'm starting to zero in on whatever he's doing. Obviously, this dude is a fucking boomer and he's been playing a long time, so he's a little ahead
so
of
I
me.
get C, and then I'm going C, E minor 7 flat 5. But let's see if I can weave in a B flat Lydian. Let's see. So I did the B flat Lydian.
This is where I need to get with it, because this just sounds cool.
And I started out with that. So I did.
Alright, so so I want to figure this
So I
out.
did.
He's saying B flat Lydian sound. What the fuck does that mean? B flat Lydian sound. Like, which notes are you playing in B flat Lydian, Rick? I'm not psychic. Alright, let's just do this note by note.
So I did.
So he plays a lead-in note. So he plays that lead-in note, which is in the Phrygian. So that's the major seventh. So he has the root in the major seventh. There's the root, the major seventh, and the third. Root, major seventh, third, and the fourth. Oh, that's all it is then. So it's the root, third, the augmented fourth, and the major seventh, and that's the B flat Lydian. All right. But it feels like he's putting in the 9 on the way down. Like he's complicating it. Fuck you. Like, it's like that. Am I tripping? Alright, okay, I see what he's doing. So he does B flat Lydian, the root, the third, the augmented fourth, and the major seventh on the way up, and then on the way down he goes to the C dominant. Interesting.
That's kind of a.
Alright, so then C dominant would be, I'm gonna have a hard time descending that, but let's just. Hold on. Okay, and then the C dominant, since it has the minor 7, that sort of works with Mixolydian. And then so, okay. I see this, I'm seeing through the Matrix. This is like when Neo, in that scene, remember, at the end of the Matrix? Where we saw all of the code of the Matrix for the first time? I see now, Rick. I see what you're doing. I'm not gonna be able to play like that immediately, but I see what you're doing.
A cool sound, right? So, 2, 3. So I'm going.
Hold up, pause that shit. Complicated. I mean, well, it isn't too complicated. I kind of get what's happening, but like, I don't play like that. Oh, then what happened there? Hold up, let me switch to something else. Oh. What the fuck is that? Alright. E, that's F. C, D, F sharp. F sharp. What the fuck?
That's really, so these are all just arpeggios
Yeah, they're all just arpeggios, but you have to spend a fuck ton of time learning all these different arpeggio variations. Alright, so we're gonna have to just start soloing over these chord changes, and I think you could just start figuring them out subconsciously. Right? The way I've been going about it is I've been like trying to memorize them by playing them over the circle fifths. And I think that is good exercise. It's a good warm-up and all of that. But that's not the best way to learn them. The best way to learn them is to play them over the chord changes. So we'll get to that when my pedal arrives tomorrow.
playing, but I'm playing them. This thing I'm playing, da do da da. Then I'm going back. I start on the 7th, and I'm going. I'm thinking B flat Lydian over C7.
B
It's
flat
like
Lydian
weaving,
over
exactly.
C7.
Is that Christopher?
I get it. I get exactly what he's doing. That he descends on the C7.
It's a great sound. So, B flat Lydian, D major, C minor, or I'm sorry, G minor.
Man, if I nail this, I can blow some people away. They'll be like, how are you doing that? Because most people either know pentatonic or they know the modes. But a select few manage to master the jazz thing, where you do the arpeggios over the chord changes.
Add 9. When I say minor, add 9. I'm playing.
I think most people either do modes or pentatonic, and then they just call it quits from there. Actually, let's be real. Most people just learn the power chord and they play Green Day. You know what I mean? Or whatever, whichever basic rock band that they like. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Nirvana.
minor add 9 would be this, right? G, A, B flat, D. They're hard to finger.
Yeah, that's what she said. They're hard to figure.
Oh, those things. Once you get these down, it's just like the major one. I did those add 9s in the last live stream. I was talking about those. I'm in the minor add. Okay, so G minor add 9, B flat Lydian,
G minor add 9.
C
B flat Lydian.
dominant,
C.
C.
So okay, I see where this goes. So you just start like in the same way that you can do these basic chord progressions over the modes. So it's like what you start doing is you do the more complicated chords. So then you go like G minor 7 to so G minor 7 then you go to the B flat Lydian that'd be it. Then you go to like C7 dominant, whatever, and then you do the arpeggiations of that. And then like once you reach the top of that one, you descend on the next arpeggiated shape, and then you ascend on the next arpeggiated shape, and then you descend on the next arpeggiated shape. And if you just master doing that, you probably just sound like a rock god.
Dominant. It's D major. C Lydian. Okay. Let me see here. What do we got? Do you think using minor 7 flat 5?
And it would be interesting as well, okay, well, what's the step above that then? I think the next step would be learning to do that over dominant scales. You start arpeggiating chords within our dominant scales. And then where do you go after that? I suppose there's other, so there's different, I feel like there's different things in music. Just drop my pick. There's different things in music where you can get really good at it. So like this, I think this is like the notational sort of thing. Like, okay, you start with like the power chord, then you learn major, minor, then you learn pentatonic, then you learn modes, then you learn arpeggios, right? And then you learn 4-note arpeggios. Then you learn like over chord changes. Then you learn dominant scale, whatever. That is one like level, like the notational thing. The other level is like the actual technique. You know what I mean? So there's like tapping, there's alternative picking, there's sweep picking, there is like string hopping. Like kind of like, are you like anchoring your fingers properly? Are you muting? All of that. That's like a different like level upon which you can be really good at guitar. Then there's rhythmic complexity, right? Like there's this, oh, that's like a 5/7, whatever the fuck, right? And so I think I gotta find a way to just ascend on each of the disciplines. I think this is pretty important to get down, these arpeggiations, because if you get that down, I feel like at that point it'd be nearly impossible to get lost. Once I got the modes, it was fairly difficult for me to get lost, but not all the notes sound good, and so you get lost in different ways. Like you're playing notes that technically work, but it doesn't sound that good, does it? The arpeggiation is how you get the always sounding good. Yeah, and so it's like if you're a jazz motherfucker, then this is probably just like you get into there learning that way. But when you try to learn rock music, that's not how people learn. They learn like, or I'm gonna play Back in Black, or a Smoke on the Water. And like, all right, I know how to play.
5 instead of dominant is lazy? What do you mean lazy? What does that mean, lazy? You do what sounds good. Can these arpeggios be played on piano? Absolutely. Same thing. Just take the lines and play them on piano. I'd go play them on my piano right now if my piano wasn't so out of tune. I'm looking for a new piano actually. Will not stay in tune. What is guiding your arpeggio selection? C7, D major. Honestly, the sound. I'm going for certain sounds, and I try to find things that don't sound like other people play. Put my glasses on, Edwin. That's pretty funny, actually. You think I should? Maybe I should, actually. Hold on. I'll put my glasses on. I'll bring my thing in here. Come on here with me. Let's go in the control, or let's go in the live
Wait a
room for a
second.
second.
That doesn't make
I'll
sense.
get my glasses.
C7, C dominant 7 does not go over C Lydian. So I don't know what this person's talking about. That's a commentator. That's not
Let's
Rick.
see. So 20% off the Beato book. The code is RB616. You guys should all buy my book because the stuff is way easier to learn when you can read it and when you know the theory behind it. There's my glasses. Let's see here. Oh, wait a minute. Are these the wrong glasses?
Boomer! What a fucking boomer. Reading glasses? Yeah. I'm glad my eyesight works perfectly.
Man. I guess I have to go like this. It's kind of weird. I don't think these are my right glasses. Hold on.
Well, I don't think these are the
See if I
right
can get some
glasses.
other ones here. This is really.
You have multiple pairs of glasses.
It's kind of fun to walk
Boomer.
around, right? I never do this.
Boomer.
Well, I guess these will work. Okay, let's see what we got here. That's not good. Let's try this. Oh, these are really. These might work, but these are kind of dirty here. Hold on, let me try these ones.
We're entering the boomer land. Oh, these are not the right reading glasses. Oh, these ones are dirty.
There we go. I look like a music professor. That's a compliment. I guess I have to kind of do it like that to see through these. They're kind of weird. I haven't had my eyes checked in.
We are in boomer land right now. Oh, my glasses. Where are my glasses?
So, anyways, all this stuff from the bottom up. I have a different pair of glasses for every
Alright,
mode.
now he's gonna explain it. Okay, after 20 minutes of him just fucking around on these arpeggios, he's like, alright, let me find my glasses, and now I'll explain this from the bottom up. You're gonna make you sit through 20 minutes of him fucking playing these incredible arpeggiated, and now he's
Whoever
gonna
said
explain
that.
it.
I like that. Professor Beato mode on. I have more. Wait, I have more glasses. Wait, what was that? Than Specsavers.
See, I guess this is a streamed. He streamed this 4 years ago, and now here I am looking at this, making fun of him. But
Okay, let's see here. Callum says here, are you targeting within arpeggios or moving from chord arpeggio to chord arpeggio? Kind of both. You know, I'm move this back a little bit. So I you know, if I'm playing, I can't play with these on. These are really weird.
I gotta take another piss break. But I think we're reaching the end of this the utility of this session. We'll finish this Beato video and see what other shit he's got. But there's another 20 minutes of this. The home stretch. This is the home stretch right here.
If I'm playing a, let's say I'm playing a C, let's say I'm playing a C minor 7 arpeggio, right?
C minor 7 arpeggio. Let's
So
say
you
you're
got-
playing that.
Okay, that's really boring. Everybody knows that finger. So I'm gonna
They're
say,
saying that's really boring. Everybody knows that. Fuck you, Rick. I just learned that today, motherfucker.
okay, what if I start here and I play,
Alright. So what he's saying is, rather than starting on the 1 of the arpeggio, you start on the, basically the 7, but like down, like you're starting on a note below the arpeggio, and so you lead into it. And then you end on not the... So yeah, that's interesting. You definitely get some different tonalities there. That's a good point. I don't know. That's the most... Alright, I'll put that in mind.
and I went up a B flat major. I'm going C minor 7, then there's B flat major here. I see the B flat major chords there and there.
Okay, I see what he's saying. So he starts on the note below the arpeggio, so he has a lead into it. Then, once he ascends the arpeggio, he switches to the major, the B flat major, which was the lead-in note that he started on. And so he gets way different tonality. I see where he's going with that. I think he could probably try to explain it simpler first. But, like, if I were to try to implement that, it'd be like, sort of like this, like... Hold up. B flat major. And then this is where our triad practice is going to loop into this as well, because it does all these like normal major minor, like non-7th, non-9th arpeggios, just the 3-note ones. So it'd be minor. Hold up. see where he's going with that. I don't know if I can implement that just yet. Let's yeah, sure. So. So he switched to the major arpeggio essentially.
So I've got C minor 9 sound, right? So I've got.
Starts with a C minor. He plays these chords differently than I try to do, because he knows all these jazz fingerings, where they, and this is what I notice about the jazz fingerings, is that they play the root on the low E, but then they skip a string and then they do a different shape down here. And so I've seen that a lot. I think I could more or less implement that, but it doesn't always occur to me to play it that way. I just play it the standard way. Well, as standard as this minor ninth chord is in the first place, which is already a relatively it's different than the power chords, let's say, or the normal major or minor chords, the 1, 3, 5s. But there's always levels to it. And I think the advantage of playing it like this is that you could quickly go into these arpeggiated shapes. So I can see why the jazz people play their chords that way.
That's a great sound, right? So it's just two arpeggios. And I ended on the root there, but I'm going to come down. I came down F major there. Give me a Lydian sound, a Dorian sound. I can come down this Lydian chord right there. So let's say C minor 7, B flat major. Then I'm going.
I think what's going to take for me to get like really natural with this idea is I'm going to have to do what I described earlier with like the looper and playing over the chord changes. Because he's so advanced with it that he doesn't even need anything under it. He just naturally is like hearing the chords in his head.
I came down. I'm coming down this Lydian triad here, right? So it's an inverted Lydian triad. It'd be an E flat Lydian, right? E flat, A, B flat. And I came down this major triad, F major triad there.
That's cool. That's a cool little chord.
And maybe resolve to the third of that.
I'm barely following along with this.
That's a great
Well, I don't know if
sound.
I'm barely following
What
along.
if I did
I'm
that
following
thing I was
along.
doing, the climbing
I
thing
just
like
can't
this?
implement it yet.
So I done. Okay, so I'm. So, start on the 5th.
I know exactly how he's doing what he's doing, but I haven't like I don't got all these different arpeggios down. Basically, I have to pause and figure it out for each one. I don't think that's an efficient way to learn. So I think the way to get the arpeggios down is just to playing over the chord changes. That's the key.
So I'm using the root here. I'm using B flat major there. Start on the fifth. What did I play? That's what
This sounds unbelievable, honestly. Hey, shout out to Rick Beato. We talk a lot of shit. Homeboy is one of the he's pretty fire at the guitar. Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest here. This guy knows his shit.
I put a little turn up. It's a great sign. So I did part of if I'm thinking major 7, E flat major 7, but
All right. I wonder what I'd find if I put learning all the arpeggios. Is that such a thing? Is there such a thing as that? I feel like there's too many arpeggios to, like, if you put learn all the arpeggios, they're only going to give you the triad arpeggios, because that is manageable. All of the triad arpeggios. Once you throw in that extra note, then it all goes out the window. It's like, you want to learn all of those? Like, I don't know if that's like mathematically like reasonable. Like, because there's only, this is what it is. I think there's a fucking like a near infinity of, or that's not necessarily true, but like a practical infinite amount of 4-note arpeggios, but only a relative small amount of them are practical for the chords and scales that are used in everyday guitar, essentially.
Hi there.
So I don't think this is gonna be useful. Let's just go back to Rick.
and I can come down them. There's a major, somebody said minor major 7, so I came down. Listen.
I think what we're gonna have to do is just forget about scales for a little bit, and then try to learn a bunch of complicated chords, and then arpeggiate all of those chords. Or we can even go through all the chords that we already know, essentially. We know a lot of complicated chords. I say we.
Let's see. That's a great sound. So that would be more of this kind of a sound, right? So I'm using.
All right. So I think that's gonna be the next step. Is just arpeggiating all the things, and then so you know how we have this this exercise. We go around a circle of fifths. We could just start doing that with all of the different arpeggios that we come up with, essentially. Not the ones that we figure out. I don't know if we're inventing them. It's sort of like, is math invented or discovered? Did you discover that arpeggio, or was it already there? But yeah, we'll just try to do that. That's a good way. Once we start getting these arpeggios down, I think it'll happen like dominoes. Like you just start learning them really quickly.
arpeggios. I did E flat, major 7 sharp 5.
E flat, major 7 sharp 5, like shit like that. E flat, major sharp 7 flat 5. Like, I could try, if I wanted to, I could try to like fucking memorize that arpeggio, or I think it would be much easier if you just start playing over the chord changes and arpeggiating the chords. Okay,
E flat lead.
so I think we're at our wits' end with this. That was a pretty solid practice. I think we have a pretty good idea of what we're trying to do. And we did make some progress, actually. I'm gonna focus on these triad arpeggios and their inversions for a little bit. I can fuck around with that pretty unthinkingly. Like, I can pick up the guitar and just mess around with this. I think that is one of the missing core elements of my guitar playing, is I didn't spend a ton of time fucking around with the triads, their inversions, the triad arpeggios, and then how that fits with the cage system. I kind of like understood it, and once I understood it, I was like, alright, I get it, and I moved on. But I could have really hammered that in, and that would have been a good building block. And so now we're going to have to play catch up. Because I intuitively understand how that fits with the cage, I guess. But I never really set aside a lot of time to like get that like really hammered in. I skipped ahead to modes. That's just too notey. It's too notey. Definitely good to have hammered out those modes. It's not a bad thing, but there are certain fundamentals that can make the modes better. All right then, let's call it then. I think we went for like about 3.5, maybe almost 4 hours there. That's about 3 hours, 15 minutes.